this was a pretty exciting find here is that this box, this one single box here, is basically like my childhood incarnate because this was on the top. It was the 50 States quarter collection, which, even though this is like something I've had for 12 years, I may end up needing to break into it. I didn't even know I had this game, this Locks Quest. I don't fucking remember what this is about. And then in this DS case here, I found this is one of the first gaming consoles I ever had. Actually, this is probably the first one I owned. Is in this DS bag, conveniently right here, we have the Game Boy Color. This was my first game console. From based on what I can remember, because my brother had the Game Boy Advance, and he gave me this. And I thought it was broke for a really long time. And so it had just sat in my toy box, and then I think I was about 6 or 7 or something. I pull it out of the toy box, and I put batteries in it, and then all of a sudden the Game Boy Color works again. And I was so excited that day because I wanted to play Pokemon Blue, which, for context here, you can see the capacitors and shit, because when I was really young, I took the back end off of this. I don't know why I took it off. I just liked opening up game systems and taking them apart. This is the first game console of my own. Not the first game console I played. That would have been the Dreamcast, but this was the first one of mine, and I played it a lot. It was really important to me. And then inside of this Pokemon bag, which, I mean, this fucking Pokemon bag, I took this bag with me almost everywhere I went. When we would go on long trips, I would load up the Game Boy Color or my brother's Game Boy Advance, whatever games we had. I especially liked taking this bag with me to Nashville because we had these little Game Boy Advance cartridges that had, episodes of SpongeBob on them or episodes of The Fairly Odd Parents. I forget what brand they were from, but you could watch TV on your Game Boy Advance through buying these little bitty cartridges. And so we'd always take this bag with us. And of course, I've got Bugs Bunny games, Bugs Bunny 2, Oddworld Adventures. These games were like surprisingly good. Like they weren't like bad games. These were games that were playable. These Bugs Bunny games, like I would, even when I was on the bus, when I got into middle school. And in fifth grade especially, I played the shit out of these Bugs Bunny games, even though by that point I had them for a while, because I just liked them. And so I'd be sitting on the bus in the bright-ass sun, with my Game Boy Color, not really having a backlight, obviously. And I just play these fucking Bugs Bunny games. They were just fun. I don't remember Gex very well. I don't think I ever got very far in Gex. Ooh, this was the light. This was the backlight for the Game Boy Color. You'd plug it into the side, and then it would kind of worm its way around the system, and it was supposed to light the game system up in the dark, but it broke over time. Oh my god. Looney Tunes Carrot Crazy. So many of these Looney Tunes games. You got the Pokemon trading card game, the original Oddworld Adventures. I was a big fan of Oddworld as a kid. A version of Pokemon Blue without the label. RC Pro-Am, port of an NES game. I have the box for this. I showed this in a different video. I feel like I had more Game Boy Color games than this. Or just like Game Boy games in general. Ooh, this was the one I was missing. It was Crazy Castle 3. This one was probably the best one out of all of the Game Boy Crazy Castle games. It was Crazy Castle 3. Now, I never played Crazy Castle 4. That was the one that I just never bought. Maybe I'll go back and buy it. essentially how these games worked, how all three of these worked was that you had like a maze. And so what you had to do, and I mean, the original one originated on the Nintendo Entertainment System, and they just kept making them for the Game Boy, is that you had like a maze-like platform where there were a bunch of different various wacky enemies from the Looney Tunes franchise, and there were puzzles. You had to find a number of keys. You had to solve puzzles to be able to get out of the various rooms, and there'd be like hundreds of rooms in these games. They did not mess around. The rooms progressively got harder and harder as you played the game, and it was fun. It was a fun time. Don't know how I would feel about it now. I probably wouldn't want to play them on the original Game Boy Color in retrospect. I'd probably want to get a Gba SP and play them that way. But I had a fuck ton of fun playing those games, even to like, the later years of me being in middle school, using this game system, this archaic game system that I had since I was like 3 or 4 years old. And you got like the Walking Dead comics in here. Said I got these. I think it was at Hastings at the time, back before Hastings went bankrupt as a company. The Walking Dead had just started out as a series. I think I got these around season 3. Is that they were selling the comics. 10th anniversary edition. So whenever the 10th anniversary happened is when these came out, and that's when I bought them. And I was a big fan of the TV series as a kid. I'm not the biggest fan of Walking Dead anymore. It's kind of like just a normal drama kind of romp, but I really love the comics, and I want to finish the comics one day. I want to buy off the rest of the comics, because I think the comics are better than the show, but I got a little Zelda in here that I drew. Oh god, I drew this so long ago. What did I write? Oh wait, no. This wasn't drawn by me. This was drawn by Majority. Logan, enjoy the 3DS partner, Teddy Kong. And then he drew a little Dreamcast on the back. Oh my god. Yeah, this was when Majority had sent me his broken 3DS because he had bought another one. And at the time he had sent me a gift of the one that he had, because the stick on his was broken from playing so much Smash Bros. That he just sent me his as a gift, and this was the little note that he gave me. I kept it after all of this time. The little Dreamcast back there. I forgot I had that note. Oh my god. You got Myth Adventure series. These were some of my favorite books. Myth, Ink, and Action, Sweet Mythery of Life. I remember I got these at like I think it was like a discount bookstore in Nashville. It was this really ginormous bookstore that had all of these old books. It was ran by an old lady, and I don't remember if they were going out of business or something like that, but they had a lot of really old books, and while we were there, we had found these Robert Aspirin Myth Adventures books, which were, pretty rare at the time. Some of these were not easy to come by, and this was like my favorite series of books. In a way, it still is. It's still one of my favorites, just looking back. And so what I would do, and I had to have been like 10 years old at the time. I was super, super young. Is that I would just read these like incessantly. You've got Myth Directions in here. The story just kept going on, but this was just a wacky, fun time with, some deeper elements to it. Myth, Ink, and Action as well. I don't think I ever completed the set. I never got all of the Myth Adventures books, but these were some of my favorites. I loved these books a lot. Very, very important to me. And so, yeah, I think it just goes down. There's just more of them in there. What is this? Regal Entertainment Group. Oh, was this a movie ticket? What was this? It was win free movies, but where did I go? Okay, this is Clarksville. But yeah, I got these books in Nashville. What movie did I see? $25 in 2016. So this was the 4th of December. But what film was it? Spirited Away. Oh my god. These are literally my tickets to go see Spirited Away. It says to General Spirited, and I remember this because this was the Fathom Events thing that had happened in 2016 that they were replaying the movies there, and so we had went to Clarksville and we had seen the movie there. Oh my god, I didn't fucking know. I didn't even know I kept these tickets. Holy shit. I'm just like finding stuff that I forgot I even had in here. Let's see what's in this. I'm assuming this is Game Boy Advance games right here. That's what I want to know. Is this Game Boy Advance games? Yes, it is. It's my old GBA collection. Very, very limited. I have very few GBA games. You know, you've got the Elf game. I got this at a pawn shop in Dover, Tennessee at the time. Really, really small pawn shop. It was like, it had to have been like $5. It was like nothing. You know, Metroid Prime Fusion. I'm surprised this game even still works. It was dropped in water a bunch of times. Crazy Taxi. I used to play the shit out of this in the car. It had like a pseudo 3D movement system going on. It looked really similar to 3D, despite the fact that it was on pretty limited hardware, and you know you had to sit out in the sun to be able to see it. You know, we got a codename Kids Next Door Game Boy Advance video. I grew up on this shit. We got one of the Fairly Odd Parents here. I had 2 of those. I don't know where the other one went, if it's just like somewhere else in the box or if I lost it somehow. Maybe it's somewhere in the depths of the storage unit. I have no idea. This box never closed very well because the box got broken a bunch of times, got thrown around. What is this? I'm assuming these are DS games. This was the little Mario. This is the little Mario case that I would... Oh, yes. This is DS games. We got a... I don't even remember this. What is this? Teenage Zombies? I don't remember this game. Cooking Mama. Ooh, Final Fantasy IV. Good game. Guitar Hero on Tour. X-Men. X-Men was shit on the DS. It was a bad game. Pokemon Pearl. Very good. You got Star Wars The Complete Saga. I played the shit out of all of these games. Oh my god, this is just taking me down memory lane right here. Holy shit. Oh boy, and then you got... now I'm just dropping them like an idiot, like a buffoon. I want to play that Final Fantasy IV a bit more because I don't think I ever beat the game. That's the thing, is that like I had the game for the longest time and I got pretty far in it. Never ended up beating the game. And it's like all of this stuff is from like a very specific era. That's the thing. Are these more movie tickets? It says so Spirited 13. So these are just part of the same movie tickets. There were only 2 of them. I don't know why. And, oh, this is the Gba Link Cable. The Gba Link Cable for the fucking GameCube. I remember that shit. Shin Megami Tensei Persona 4. I wrote that down on a piece of paper for some reason. Not sure what that's about. More DS games. What is this one? Ooh, Drawn to Life the Next Chapter. This game was really fun. The ending was like surprisingly in-depth. Like, I did not expect that emotional of an ending to be in a game like this. You know, SpongeBob Atlantis SquarePants, bad game. The Simpsons game was another case where like the story was like surprisingly profound in this game. And I did not expect that. Like, the movie was great. It came out around the same time the movie did. but it like the cutscenes were great, the gameplay was really great. Simpsons game was fantastic. Feel the Magic. This was like a puzzle game. It was like a sexual puzzle game by Sega, which tried to utilize the touchscreen feature by like making all these like bosses and mini games and stuff to try and eventually get you to win the girl of your dreams on the main cover. Very Japanese, very weird. That was one of the first DS games that I got. And it was pretty raunchy for the age I was at. I was pretty young playing that game, but I was a big fan. I played that game for hours, especially when I was sick. You know, old Yu-Gi-Oh manual, Pokemon Soul Silver. That was gifted to me, actually. That was given to me by a family friend. Harry Potter, not very good. Golden Sun, Dark Dawn. I got so close to beating this game. I got stuck at a certain part of it, and so I never ended up beating it. I got this on clearance at, I want to say, a Target. I think it was when I was sick, and so I would sit on my parents' couch at the time, you know, late at night, get under the covers. I would play this game for hours. I was like obsessed. The Secret of Nim. This was one of my favorite books for the longest time. I loved The Secret of Nim. I haven't seen the movie. That's the thing. I've never seen the movie, but I've read this book so many times from when I was younger. You got some Yu-Gi-Oh stickers in here. Unfortunately, I did the grand sin of using these at some point. Some of them are still there. And then we have, I guess I'll put this with my other manga, the old Kingdom Hearts manga. It's this is probably the first manga I've ever read, other than like reading my brother's Shonen Jump, which I have in the closet over there. If you can see, there's a bunch of Shonen Jump just like sticking out. But these were these were like the first manga that I owned of my own, and I was a big fan of the Kingdom Hearts games when I was really young. The art doesn't look too great looking back, but I had to have been like 9 or 10 when I picked these up, and I was so excited because the Kingdom Hearts was one of the first video games I had ever played. I had to have been like 3 when I had first picked the game up, and I was a ginormous fan of it. And so seeing these at the time, even though I was like 10 or 9 or 8, something like that, it brought nostalgia to my heart because I had remembered like 5-6 years prior, I had been playing the game on the PS2, and then our PS2 got sold, and I didn't really have much of a connection to the series from there on. But seeing these, you know, brought back a spark in me that made me excited about the series again. And so I bought all of the volumes of it that they had. It was a really important story to me at the time. I don't think I understood the narrative stuff. Come here, boy. Come here. You all right? Yeah, dog problems aside, he was upset because he couldn't go into the other room to fuck his sister. Looking through this box it's been a treasure trove. It's been an absolute treasure trove of nostalgia and memories of a different era, because all of these things that are in here are kind of tied back to a pretty similar time in retrospect. Like they all came from around the same point in my life and developed around the same point, that to find all of them in one place feels like an explosion, you know? It feels like an explosion of good feels, of, wow, I remember that. I didn't remember that previously, that kind of thing. And I don't know, it feels cool that all of this stuff is still here. I completely forgot about this box.